hopefully you'll be able to hear some of the bells. I'll explain that in a moment or two. If I just give you a little bit about the history of where we've come from. Some time ago, we decided, about 3 years ago, we decided that we needed to do something about our bells because two reasons. One, the sound was awful. 4 bells that just did not match together. The sound that was coming out was pretty horrendous. Secondly, they were extremely difficult to ring because the fittings weren't right. They were very old fittings and they were extremely difficult to ring. And thirdly, it became quite apparent that if we didn't do something very soon, we were going to have problems with them. They would become unringable. We were advised that within a year or two they would be unringable. Going back 10 years, in the 1990s, the people who were responsible for the bells at that time, I wasn't in the village at that time, but the people who were responsible decided to restore the 4 bells that they had in the tower in order to get them going. They raised £20,000 and they managed to get the bells going. And I think that was a major step forward. They actually got 4 bells going. All right, the sound wasn't very good, they were difficult to ring, but they got them going. And that enabled us to, or enabled them to set up a band, start some recruitment and to get things moving. That's when I joined in, Sheila joined in, various other people became part of the local musical things with them once you've got 6 bells. So, we did some other fundraising. The Heritage Lottery Fund was the final piece of the jigsaw, and I can remember last October, October last year, I can remember getting a phone call when I was doing a bit of my own heritage research. I was in a churchyard in Alton in Staffordshire looking for my ancestors, and this phone call came through on the mobile, and the lady from the lottery said, you've got the grant. I felt a bit like the people on the Antiques Roadshow, you know, when you've got a sort of broken cup and they say it's worth £50,000. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Thank you very much indeed. I put the phone down. Yes! it really was the end of it. I phoned Sheila and told her, and she went silent, which is very unusual, I have to say. But that was the end of a lot of fundraising, and I must also pay tribute to a lot of other organisations. The County Council came up with some funds, a lot of small organisations like the Barbara Watmore Charitable Trust and the Sharp Trust and all sorts. They're all mentioned over here. Very generous, but also the local village came up front, and they raised £7,000. Actually, Sheila was responsible for organising that side of it, and they raised £7,000 with a village of 300 odd people, which is fantastic. Yeah, it was an awful lot of work, and they were really supportive. But that was very important, that the village became supportive of what we did in the church, and so we were really grateful to them for that. And one of the bells, as you'll see, has got an inscription to the people of Campsea, so we dedicated to both people. So the time came when the bells were removed. They all came down. You can see there 3 of the bells. One of the bells has stayed up there, so we're going to use that as a surface bell. 3 of the bells came down. The reason only 3 was because the 4th bell, the old tenor, the 1601 tenor, just does not fit in with the new ring. It would be, they just couldn't tune it to be able to fit in, so we had to leave that where it is. But we're going to use it as a service bell. So 3 of the bells came down, and were loaded on a lorry. Off they went to Whitechapel, the Bell Foundry in London. If you ever get a chance to go there, it's well worthwhile. It's a fascinating trip down there. They retuned them. They then sent them off down to Dorset, where the bell hangers looked after them. And they cast 3 new bells down at Whitechapel. You see some of the casting that went on there, and some of the people who went down to witness that. And the casting is an incredible old technology method. I mean, it's incredible what they do down there. They use loam and horsehair and all sorts of things to create the cast. So it is a very hundreds of years old technology that they're using. So those bells were cast. They went down to Dorset over here, to the bell hangers with Andrew Nicholson, and they got stolen, which was a bit of a shame. They had them in the frame a week or so before they were coming back here in October. Somebody broke into the works and they stole 4 of our bells. It was 4, wasn't it? Yeah, 4 of our bells went, and 5 others. And just went, presumably, broke it up for scrap and disappeared. But Nicholson's themselves, the insurers, locally the Diocesan Council, they really moved quickly, and the insurers almost straight away said, recast them and get going. The DAC within a couple of weeks gave us permission to do that. So the 4 more bells were cast, and they then went back down to Dorset. And eventually came back here, and so there are the 2 old bells, and the 4 new bells came back on Monday. We're jumping all over the bells as the feeling them. For sort of 11-year-olds to actually see something that's 300-400 years old. They had a great time. And then they came back and saw the new show to talk about that. And we gave them a virgin around the church. Our organist came on the organ. We've never heard such a row in my life.
Are you going to let them back to ring the bells?
That's our next step, yeah. I wrote to the head as soon as they'd gone back and said, let's talk in January about what we're going to do next, and that's probably what we're going to do. And again, I have to say it's because of the funding from the hospital we were able to see it, and we intend to do that at least once a year. And obviously, what we've done, as you can see, we've built a new ringing gallery. We've got the bells that are going in upstairs at the moment. A lot of work has gone on, and I must pay tribute to the professionals who've been responsible for all this. Our architect from House, I'm staggered by the quality of the work, the design work that they produce. I'm delighted with that. Reeds of Aldborough have done all the construction work. And they worked painstakingly. They really have done a tremendous job, I think. Very slowly at times, but they've done it. They've really taken care, which is the important bit as far as we're concerned. And Nicholas Engineering, who've done all the work on the bells as well as Whitechapel. And again, I can't speak too highly of them and the work that they've been doing. We've been very fortunate with our protection team. It's gone reasonably smoothly, hasn't it, at times? There are hitches with things like this, but I'm not going to tell you about those. But it's gone very well. So we've been delighted. But the project is not just about bells. I mean, I've talked all sort of 5 minutes or more about the bells, but it's not just about bells. It's much more about people. And these bells are no use because they're upstairs, hidden away. If they're never rung, and no one ever touches those bell ropes, then it's a waste of time. What are we doing it for? So again, as part of the lottery bid, what we said we would do is we would make sure that people are ringing these bells, and we've got a training program already in place. So in January, we're going to get some recruits to come along and start ringing bells. They don't know it yet, but they are. So we want people to do that. We want everybody who comes into the church to ring. Everybody. We hope you have a ring in a minute. Give you a bell rope and say, pull this and see what happens. We want as many people as, it's one of those things I think you've got to do before the end of your life. It's one of those great things. I pulled a bell rope, and we'll give you that opportunity.
And it's more visible now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not hidden away.
No, we were hidden away before, and it's opened up the window as well. Before we used to have this curtains down here, used to be higher up. You can see the fitments where they used to be, and that was just hidden. Nobody could see it, so everybody never knew what was behind there. It really has opened it up. And, there are plans in the pipeline for doing something with this area, kitchen, toilets, that sort of thing. But, the pieces here.
Most churches do. You don't
No.
hidden away.
No. I mean, personally, I couldn't visualise it. We knew we wanted a gallery, but I couldn't visualise it. That's
I just envisaged actually that midsummer morning.
Yeah.
That episode just flooded back into my brain.
Tim nearly got to that stage.
But I mean, again, we've got to pay credit to the architects for the design work. I had a clue what that was going to look like, but and I don't think you and Stephen knew really, did you, before you started?
I think it's turned out super.
I think it's fantastic, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it.
We have to be very good now.
Yes, that's the trouble.
There's no passing around the sweeties.
There's no mini bar up there now. That's gone. We're not going to have that. So we are very excited.
So is the village excited because it's had a quiet summer, I guess? So,
it's been very quiet since March. There's been no noise since March.
When you think of England, you think of
yes,
you think
that's
of
right.
Church bells ringing.
Yeah. The village have been supportive, and we've kept them informed through newsletters. We've tried to do our best to make sure everybody knows. Every household has a regular newsletter, as well as the church magazine and so on. We make sure they know exactly what's happening. We report it back through the parish council and so on. But that's actually only half of it. The other half of it is our local heritage projects, which, again, we were able to do because we've got funding for this, and I think this has been very exciting for us. There are a lot of resources in the village, as in most villages.